Hey guys, so in this video I wanted to go over my heavy squat and deadlift day from last week. So I'll just give you a brief rundown of what I did before I kind of go into the general topic I wanted to discuss in this video. So I worked up to a top set of 4 RPE 5 on squat, and then I did 3 down sets of 6. So basically I worked up to 430 for 4 because this first set was 419 for 4 was just not RPE 5, which was surprising to me, especially with how I felt coming in on this day. But that's actually like one good point is that when you go into training, one of the things about RPE that people get wrong is they think that it's just about, oh, like how I feel, whatever. It's like how you feel can certainly impact your performance, but RPE is first and foremost based off of how are you performing, not on how do you feel. And so you have to go off of your performance because I'm sure you've had, lots of days, every one of us, where it's like you just don't feel good at all. You're really tired, but for some reason, you're really, really strong on that day. And that's really all that matters. Now, that won't always happen, but again, RPE needs to be based off of how you perform and not how you feel. So I was able to do 430. That was right on the dot with what I wanted for RPE 5. Took off 10% for a set of 6, and then took off another 5% for another 2 sets of 6 with 363. And then after this, I did a ascending 3x7 on sumo deadlift. I did 485, then I did 507, then I did 518 up to, that was about RPE 6. And then after that, I did 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps on belt squat, 3 sets of 15 to 20 on leg extensions, and then 3 sets of 15 to 20 on leg curls. So obviously I'm doing a lot of volume right now. So one of the main topics I wanted to talk about here is why volume phases are extremely important in powerlifting and why you can't always do the training that's going to make you peaked and that won't get you strongest. So one of the main reasons is muscle mass. So if you're doing a little bit more volume, you can think about volume as sort of physiological adaptations. So more muscle mass, and that's going to basically be a very good long-term predictor of your long-term strength. So basically all the lifters at the top of powerlifting, they're pretty freaking jacked. They have a lot of lean body mass, and their body composition is pretty good. And so doing volume on squat, bench, and deadlift is going to do a couple things. One, it's going to have the most specific hypertrophy of the muscles that are going to be contributing to the squat, bench, and deadlift. And then the second thing is that you're going to build up more work capacity. And so what this basically means is that your work capacity is your ability to recover and tolerate more volume. So if you can recover a little bit better, you're tolerating more volume. When you go into more of a lower volume phase, you start to peak. You will have a little bit better recovery for a very short period of time. And that's because work capacity does detrain rather quick. Anybody who's went and peaked into a meet, they're like, holy crap, like I feel really, really freaking weak right now. It's really hard for me to get through my more normal volumes, and that's just because you detrained on your work capacity. And so, when you're going into a peak, so you start to lower down some of that volume a little bit with, biasing towards a little bit more intensity, a little bit lower reps on average. Well, for a brief period of time, you're actually going to be able to recover better when you having taken that period of building your work capacity, where you're going to have more of a successful peak. Now, obviously, timing that is important for the athlete because it can be something that detrains rather fast, and you need to pay attention to their individual response. Like for me, even when I'm peaking, I keep in rather high reps, really like during the entire time, just because like, one, that's where I get my best response, but B, like I detrain my work capacity pretty fast. I also have a pretty high volume tolerance. That's the reason, why I do it. But in general programming, things are going to become more heavy, a little bit less high reps. That even is what happens for me. But that's like the main reason why you do volume and why that's so important. I guess like the last thing I want to go over is like, why do I squat and deadlift heavy in the same day? And the main reason for this is just to manage expectations going into meet day of how does my squat impact my deadlift. So then I can have appropriate expectations going into my meet. So I'm not thinking, oh, well, if I train my deadlift fresh, say I did like a Monday squat and I did a Wednesday deadlift and then a Friday squat, well, I might actually be like 3% stronger training that fresh, and that might give me like inappropriate expectations going into meet day. Because 3% is that's a pretty big difference in strength, and so that helps me sort of manage my expectations. It's good sport specific practice for knowing how to go throughout meet day, and have the psychological resilience to squat and deadlift heavy on the same day. Because you powerlifting meets are like if you're like USAPL, like IPF affiliate, it's like 3 hours, but I compete in like USPA and WRPF also. They can be like heck, like 8 hours long. So this helps you build more of that mental toughness. But yeah, hopefully this video is helpful. Sorry if my voice sounded weird. I've been a little bit sick recently, but hopefully this video is helpful. If you guys have any questions, just drop them down below.